You can feel it before you see it. That thick, wet cold, like crawling through a drafty tunnel that never truly dries. Mud clings to boots. Pebbles skitter down into darkness the moment you shift your weight. And somewhere ahead, something drags across stone. Metal, slow and deliberate. Subash's lantern cuts a small circle out of the black. Everything beyond it is nothing. A hungry nothing. Behind them, 2 goblins lie twisted in the dirt, one missing a silver tooth, the other punctured through and through. The giant rat from earlier, gone. Fled deeper into the dark like it knew what lived down here. The tunnel slopes downward, narrowing into a rock split you can't pass side by side. And then they see it, thin cords hanging from the ceiling. They sway in the draft, they tap, soft, rhythmic, like wind chimes. Except they aren't chimes. Closer now, the lantern glow catches what hangs from those strings. Fingers, human fingers, ears. Things cut away, preserved in grime and air. Not decoration. A warning. And worse, an alarm. Nibs and Subash don't touch them. They don't speak. They go low, belly to stone. Lantern set forward inch by inch, then dragged back so the light won't spill ahead like a beacon. Nibs crawls behind, small enough to slip under most of the hanging horrors without brushing them. The cords tick above their backs. The stink grows heavier. Old blood. Wet earth. Rotting meat. Waste. When the tunnel finally widens, it opens into a chamber lit by thick candles. The wax runs down the stone in fat trails and hardens in puddles. Wooden pens line the walls, some broken, some half collapsed. The place feels like it was built to hold things, or keep things in. And the deeper they step, the more the cave stops feeling like a cave and starts feeling like a slaughterhouse, blood smeared across rock. Stacked remains shoved aside like firewood. The air is wrong, stagnant, oily, full of smoke and decay. Somewhere in the distance a low muttering, almost like a sick prayer. Subash draws steel. They move slow, quiet. They follow the sound. Then they find him. A man sprawled among the filth, still barely moving, a ranger by the look of him. One leg gone below the knee, hacked off, rough. 2 fingers missing, an ear taken. He's soaked through, grey with shock. Subash kneels, grabs his shoulder. "Hey, can you hear me? Who are you?" The man's eyes flutter. His mouth opens. Words don't come out right, but something does. They feed it below, and then he's gone, dead weight in Subash's hands. Nibs searches him fast, fingers sliding through bloody pockets, hoping for a crest, a mark, anything. Subash studies the foot, the trail, the mess. It matches. This is the messenger, the one they tracked through Duskwood, the one Izuf wanted found, the one carrying the sealed package. And the package is not here. A sudden scrape, a wet breath. From the dark, something small lunges. A giant rat slams into Nibs, teeth finding shoulder in the pitch-black moment their torch dies. One bite, one sharp flash of pain. Panic hits like a hammer, because this is how people disappear in Blackroot Hollow. Not with glory, but with a sudden silence. "Nibs, move!" They bolt for light. Subash fumbles oil, hands working blind, forcing the lantern back to life with a desperate shake. The flame catches. The rat is right there. Ribs visible under mangy hide, eyes bright with hunger. Subash takes another bite in the chaos. Pain blooms in his thigh, but he stays on his feet. Nibs chugs a healing potion, the warmth slamming back into his veins like a second heartbeat. And then Subash swings. He doesn't fight the rat. He ends it. Steel uppercuts under its jaw, snapping its head back. Then one clean, brutal follow-through. The rat's skull separates. Blood paints the boards and the dead alike. The head bounces once, and rolls into the dark. Silence returns, but it isn't comfort. It's the cave, listening again. They search the chamber anyway, through bodies, through filth, through broken pens. But the only thing waiting here is more blood and a trail leading deeper. A dragged smear on stone. Whatever took the package didn't stop here. And the lantern burns on. Smoke pools under the ceiling like a second roof, and torchlight crawls across wet stone. The chamber is higher than the tunnels behind it, wide enough for barrels and broken tables to be shoved into rough lines of cover. It stinks of cooked meat, grease, goblin sweat. 3 goblins linger inside, unaware, muttering in the firelight. Nibs moves first, staying under the light, using barrels and smoke like cover until he's right behind the nearest goblin. The room keeps muttering, unaware. Both daggers slide in under the ribs and twist. The goblin's breath leaves in a wet choke. No scream follows. Nibs has taken the lungs clean, stolen the voice before it can rise. The creature folds in on itself and goes down without a sound. Subash is already at the nearest chest. The lid lifts to torn cloaks, split boots, a swollen book glued shut by damp, then something clean among the rot, a small emerald chip, pocketed, fast. No sealed bundle. He shuts the chest and a heartbeat later flicks the green shard towards Nibs like a private win. The stone slips through Nibs's fingers, cracks off the floor and rolls, clicking against rock. Heads snap toward the sound. One goblin snarls and charges with a sword raised. Another hangs back as an archer, and from deeper in the chamber a third one appears, drawn by the noise, slipping into view with an arrow already set, aiming at Nibs. Subash fires first. The arrow punches into the swordsman's standing leg just above the knee. It stumbles but keeps coming, dragging the wounded limb. Arrows answer from the 2 archers. One slams into Subash's breastplate like a hammer on iron, the other hissing past Nibs's head close enough to feel. Pain blooms under the armor, but Subash holds. Nibs whips a dagger back at the nearer archer, but it sails wide and bites stone instead. The wounded swordsman, shaking with adrenaline, scrambles up onto a table to close distance despite the shaft lodged in his leg, trying to make height count with raw momentum. Subash does not retreat. He surges forward, drops into a knee slide through spilled grease and blood, and lets his blade rise in a brutal arc. Steel shears through both lower legs. Bone parts, tendon snaps, and blood fans across the table's edge. The goblin collapses, screaming once before the sound breaks into wet gargling. Subash rises from the slide, already turning, red sprayed across his armor. The 2 remaining goblins hesitate, just long enough to understand. Then their courage breaks. They turn and flee deeper into the tunnels. Silence returns, heavier now, They move fast. 10 silver spikes stripped from a belt, 60 silver coins pried from a hidden fold in a boot. The second chest is only plundered scraps and abandoned packs. Nibs tears through them until one yields weight, a sealed bundle marked with Izuf's sigil, intact, plus a folded map and a small healing draft in glass. They have it. And the chamber answers. The dragging returns, heavy, close, stone grinding as something vast forces itself into the far archway. Torchlight finds a pair of red eyes and the shape of something too big to be here. A snapped chain drags from its neck, clamp still locked, and a matching shackle hangs off one ankle with every step. The hulking goblin thing fills the archway, thick with wrong muscle and old scars. In its grip hangs a goblin that tried to run. It smashes the body against the wall, blood spatters wide, bone cracks, and the corpse slides down stone. The abomination doesn't roar. It tilts its head and listens, breathing slow, hunting the sound of prey. There is no fight here, only an exit. Subash clamps the sealed pack to his chest, and they run. Debris shrieks through the air behind them and impacts Bitestone beside their heads. They sprint for the narrow split in the rock. The light gutters. Smoke stings. For a heartbeat, it feels like the dark will win. Nibs sparks a torch alive at the last moment, and they force themselves into the tight passage. Shoulders scrape, breath turns thin, claws rake stone behind them. The brute slams into the narrowing gap and roars once, but it cannot follow. Too big. Trapped by rock, they crawl, stumble, and burst out into the cold night of duskwood. The cave mouth yawns behind them like a wound, trees black against a pale moon. The stink of the den clings to their clothes. From within comes one last low growl. Then silence. They don't linger. North through duskwood, back to Izuf, toward the Cinderholt. The night air cuts clean, but something in them has changed. Harder at the edges, steadier in the hands. The kind of strength you only earn when you live through what should have killed you. A small camp follows. Low fire, little talk, eyes on the dark. And somewhere beyond the tree line, wolves begin to howl, spaced out and circling, patient enough to wait for a mistake. They've escaped the tunnels. Now they have to survive the open.